So I had my first low-grade cry about technology. I was supposed to do a live stream on both. Hold on, I'm getting emails. I was supposed to do a my Sandee M project, my Soul Talk with Sandee M project was supposed to go live today at 3 o'clock. It was supposed to go live stream on both Instagram and YouTube. And I'm telling you, it didn't happen the way it should have happened. And I'm going to have to figure it out so that I can reschedule my guest, Allie West. And she was very, very patient, very forgiving, right? This is all new territory for me. Technology is what technology is, and you learn it the way you learn it and whatnot. And I'm looking on, I think it's, yeah, exactly. Rashida, technology can be really tricky, because I don't know, I can't say whether they do it on purpose or not. It's just the information that you need to have, you figure is embedded in something. And when I mean embedded, it's not embedded on purpose. It's just that there's certain information that you find in certain places. Like I'm looking right now about how to, because I put my Instagram, information in and my YouTube information in, and they have a thing where you can click toggle on and everything. And it was just not working. Even the second time when I thought it was working, she couldn't come in. So there's something that I got to fix. And I'm looking at Instagram, and it's saying that, let's see, it's saying that to stream Instagram has unlocked multi-streaming from a desktop using Restream and that kind of thing. So I have Restream, and then it tells you how. And here I had to look for this. I had to really look for this. And it says, make sure you have a professional Instagram account. Well, my account is business account. Okay, it's not a professional. It's business because Soul Awakening with Sandra is business. It's that's how I set it up. And so I'm not going to toggle back and forth to do this. So I'm thinking that Soul Talk with Sandee might be only available on YouTube. So, and this was a module that I was toying with for quite some time, that Soul Awakening with Sandra, the podcast, would be on Instagram and on my Spotify. And let's see, I thought that business meant professional. No, I think they have personal, they have professional, they have creative, and they have business. I think they have 4. But I'm gonna have to do some more due diligence. But thank you for letting me know. The thing is, it's when you try to get to actually talk to a person, they don't have a person that you can talk to. So you have to go to their website and dig and and hope that they have a question that is part of their help center, because everything's automated, that will deal with that, So, and thank you for letting me politely vent, politely, hold on a second, politely vent with, I'm sending this to Allie to see if she can come on this live, So yeah, so it says you choose it will be public. It will broadcast to all your followers. Practice will keep your stream private. I don't know. Close friends, copy stream key. That whole thing, which I was already doing, but I was doing it using a business account. And I think what I'm going to do is, I think for right now, I'm going to, which means some of my followers, if you want really this to follow me and support me on this talk show page, you're going to have to go to my my bio and click my link there that has all my different links that will help you go to my YouTube. Actually, you could go to YouTube and just go Soul Awakening with Sandra and follow me there. And then you'll be able to get Soul Awakening with Sandra, the podcast, on Instagram, and Soul Talk with Sandee M on YouTube. And you'll have a little something for everybody. I don't even know. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Even finding out that I had Anchor, right? All access, right? That's what we want. We're serving the community, so all access. And I want to be, and that's my whole thing. I wanted to be a speaker and podcaster, and I wanted to do it domestic and internationally. This was my intent. This is what I'm putting the energy behind. And this is what, I had like a mini meltdown cry fest just for a minute. And then went, all right, well, it needs some tweaking, right? Good thing we found out now. And good thing I found out with a perfectly wonderful guest who's willing to work with me. She was just willing to work with me, so I know that when I get this done, I know she's still Allie. Her name is Allie West. Go follow her. And this is my first venture into, it's not easy to keep up. Anchor moves to Spotify for podcasts, to Riverside. Oh, okay, so I did Anchor, and it allowed me to be on Spotify, right? So then what happens is now Anchor is no more. It's formally Anchor. Spotify is now formally Anchor, and now it's trying to have me, log in to as a Spotify person, but it won't let me. So now I have to go and I have to speak to a customer service so they can get me done the right way. Because I'm just not going to it's now Riverside. So it's called Riverside. I'm not sure. Are you talking Riverside, Riverside, California, or is that Anchor's new name? Right? It's Anchor's new name. Okay. I don't know what you're saying yes to, either the county or either Anchor's new name. I'm assuming it's Anchor's new name. But Anchor won't be part of Spotify, right? Yeah, Anchor's new name. But I don't think they'll be part of Spotify. And everything is on Spotify. So now I've got to work with that as well. And hey, this is what growth and expansion is. It's growth. I'm sorry, I've got like honey all over my cup. It's growth and expansion, and thank you for the hearts. That makes me feel so good. It makes me feel really, really, really good. It's a Saturday evening, and these are the hiccups. My son even said, "Mom, I don't see it. I don't see it." And I said, "Oh, he help me walk through everything, is set everything up, and all I have to do is go live, right? And, then he texts me, he says, I don't see anything. I said, I'm having a cry fest right now. And then, of course, he said, oh, sorry, Mom, sorry. It's not his fault at all. It's not his fault. And it means that, first it showed me that I could walk myself through what he gave me a tutorial on, right, of all that he knew. And so that made me feel good that I remembered how to walk myself through that. Really good. So that was number one plus, because I saw, oh, instead of seeing a negative out of it, here's the positive, right? Yeah, behind, now I've got to go, so I went behind the scenes, and I actually found a link that tells me more about Instagram and Restream, right? And it literally says, to make sure you have a professional Instagram account. And I guess I'm going to find out how many different accounts there are for Instagram, which I believe there are 4. There is personal, there is professional, there is creative, and there is business. Ask me what the difference between professional and business is. I'm not sure. Maybe it's how it's utilized with ads, right? I know business accounts, you can't use a whole lot of music, and you can use music, but it's a lot of music. A lot of their music isn't accessible. So yes, I'm creative. I could use this as a creative page, but no, I don't, because Soul Awakening with Sandra, I have license to. It's a business, so I have a license for it. And yes, I do want to start doing meditations, and that's the star meditations is my business. That's what I want to do, personal one-on-one star meditations. I want to do, I intend to do hour sessions or 30-minute sessions. So that's already in play, Hi, Allie. I was just telling them that I had a moment. Here we go. Kind of working through things, So really interesting, right? And my
Hi.
hi. I have to say thank you so much for being so patient. I will have to work through all of this. I've been looking on why things were glitching, and Instagram, it doesn't allow you to do stream unless you have a professional Instagram account, and mine is a business,
Got you.
right?
Gotcha. You know
So
what? It's okay.
yeah.
I just saw your message, and I'm like, you know what? I do my show Instagram Live, and so I've learned how to be so fluid and flexible because it has technical challenges a lot. And so what I know that is teaching me is to just keep it moving and to go with the flow. And so that's what I'm learning to do. There's times I've been right in the middle and it'll be like, goodbye. It just cuts off.
Right,
And I'm
right,
like, or people
right.
can't come up and all these things. So I just say when spirit chooses for me to move off of the platform, I will. But until then, we roll with it. And so, Queen, I'm super excited to be here with you today, and it's all good. We make it
Yeah,
work.
it's like really, it's all good, right?
Yes, it
It's
is.
like, because what I noticed is that the toggle still stayed on for YouTube. YouTube,
Ah,
so we were probably live on YouTube. I just couldn't see it, right?
gotcha.
And but I'm going to really figure this out, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask my son to like do one with me, a practice one,
Yeah.
so I can figure it out. I'm looking at, let's see, what is this? It's in Restream, and it's saying it had a link that you can
Mm-hmm.
click on, and I'm looking and it says stream to Instagram. It says that you've got a whole process that they want you to do, and the first thing I saw was make sure you have a professional Instagram account.
Yeah.
I have a business Instagram account. So it was like,
So what's the difference between a professional and business? You're teaching me something.
uh, the thing is, I haven't gotten that far yet. I know
Okay.
Instagram has 4 different accounts, or at least they used to. They used to have the personal account,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have the creative account,
Okay.
professional account, and they have business. So I'm
Okay.
gonna have to go and figure out what all of it means.
Okay.
Because there's another young lady that was in here saying, well, what's the difference between business and professional, just like
Yeah.
you said. And here I'm thinking, what's the difference? But okay, I know that business, you can't use a lot of music.
Ah.
you know
Yes.
you can't use a lot of music when you're trying to boost things like to make them, make your post into ads,
Yes. Definitely.
right?
I've run into that.
Yeah, you
Okay.
know so you can't do that. Now I don't know what the difference is with professional. Maybe there's certain guidelines that you can use the music, but you have to have uh, it has to you have to have permission.
Got
you
it.
know
So guess what? It's all good.
it's
You
all
breathe through
good.
it. And so do you want to just go from here and just go? Or do you want to just
Yeah, we
shut
can do
out and come
that.
back in? Or however you want to do it?
No,
Let's
I
do it.
think what we can do is we'll just do the soul talk, with
Okay.
Sandee M right now. It's
Okay.
going to have now with the soul talk with Sandee M. What I'm going to do, what my intention to do, is it will be saved in in my bio, but Instagram doesn't give me uh, access to what do you call it, editing,
Right.
right? But when I save it so it can go to my YouTube, I'll be able to edit out like the very beginning of it, where
Okay.
I'm having my little rant, right? So
It's
what I'm
all
going to
good.
do is I am going to I am going to introduce us. Welcome to
Okay.
Soul Talk with Sandee M, where we will explore conversations about our spiritual gifts, our spiritual talents, and our wonderful spiritual skills that we use in our everyday life. Not just for the collective, but all of humanity gets a taste of our wonderful gloriousness. Thank
Absolutely.
you, thank you. Let me introduce the most beautiful person in all of my todayness, Allie West. Thank you, Allie, for being part of my live today.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. What an introduction. And you know what? We go with the flow. And what I'm learning more and more in this journey, fluid and flexible. Creator is teaching me every day be fluid and flexible. And so I have my meltdowns, I have my cries. I did a live the other day and I had like 2 ugly cries that day.
Yeah,
I was like, so I was talking about the cleansing of crying. And so it is just fine. We roll with it. How I see it is whoever's supposed to be here will be here, and whatever needs to come up will come up, and spirit will do whatever needs to be done. So I'm absolutely excited to be here and to join this conversation with you. And let's do it.
let's do it. Yes. Now, normally, what I wanted to do with Soul Talk with Sandee M that is different from Soul Conversations with Sandra is Soul Conversations with Sandra is having us have a conversation about the your soul awakening, your journey, dark nights of the soul, and then forward to some of your how you use your gifts and your talents. Soul Talk with Sandee M is about your gifts, about your talents, about how you're using it in your spirituality, but out in the world where we're called to go. Really, we come from that, but then we take our gifts and our talents and we go back and we shine.
I'm
So,
glad you said that.
right. So here is what I want to ask. I'm going to do this from beginning to end. I'm going to combine Soul Conversations with Sandra with Soul Talk with Sandee. And please give us a little bit of your soul awakening story. Your not
Okay.
story, your soul awakening journey.
Okay.
Okay?
Absolutely. So, I've said this story. I've been on a few different podcasts, and every time I think about this journey, I have to go back to early childhood when I wasn't aware that I was on this journey, but I've been on this journey for a very long time. So I'm a 70s baby, right? And in the 70s, my dad worked in Alaska. So I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma, originally, Black Wall Street, and that's my background. And so my dad worked in Alaska, and he would work these shifts of 6 weeks gone, 3 weeks home, 6 weeks gone, 3 weeks home. And so one time when he was getting ready to leave, he set my mother down and he said, I need to tell you something. He was getting ready to leave and fly out the next day to Alaska. He said, I need to tell you something. I don't want you to be afraid, but I need to let you know what's going on. And he proceeds to tell my mother that we have a ghost in the house. And he's saying, he's leaving, the kids are there, my mom's there, he's gone for 6 weeks, there's ghosts in his house, I don't want you to really be scared. And my mother, to his surprise, go, oh my God, you saw it too? She's like, I didn't want to tell anybody that I saw this ghost. And so mind you, in this time frame, I'm 3, 4 years old, I'm little bitty girl. I just remember the conversations around years later. I don't know that I saw it, but what happens in this process is family members start to come out, and there's at least 2 other people in the family, a sister and a brother, to say they saw the ghost. So I grew up in this household with Casper the Friendly Ghost, right? Or so to speak. It was a ghost that traveled, and mind you, I never saw it to my own recognition until about 7 years ago. And
Okay.
so that was the first introduction. And then there would be things that would happen periodically in my life. That I can recall mostly is I had a premonition when I had a friend whose daughter was ill, and she called me, was telling me about it. When we got the phone, I saw that she wasn't going to make it. And that was a bit scary for me because I was like, what was that about? Now, I didn't see her transitioning over. What I saw is someone else comforting her. And the person that was comforting her had also had a child who is now an ancestor. And so that was around 2011, 2012. But the real pivotal point, it's all important, but the most pivotal point was in 2014. My dad, I'm the baby's girl. I'm the baby of combined 10 children. I'm a parents' only child together, and it was the ultimate daddy's girl, right? So in 2014, my dad transitions in my arms. And when my dad transitions in my arms, I see something come over him like a cloud or something, and then I see something come out, and I'm going, wait a minute. Now I'm crying, I'm sad, I'm having all these selfish emotions of what is really going on here. The giver of life, now life is gone, and so I'm having all these selfish emotions about daddy leaving. But I couldn't get over the fact that I saw something in that room, and I didn't have a name for it at that time because I wasn't in this space. But it just was like something happened. However, the doctors and the nurses were just working like no big deal. And I'm going, I saw something. And so
Yeah,
the only
what's going
person
on?
that
You
I
guys
tell,
don't
yeah,
see
what's
that
going
too?
on is my daughter. And I don't say anything to anyone else in the family because a lot of times when we grow through these spiritual awakening experiences or these journeys, people deem us crazy because a lot of times it's not everybody in the family or multiple people in the family. It's the one, right? And this person has these experiences and everybody around you think you're crazy as hell. And so that's what exactly happened to me 3 years later when I was still experiencing a battle. I call it now deep impression of depression with, my dad being gone. And I started asking these questions. Who am I at the seat of my soul? What am I supposed to do? What is my purpose? God, I know how I see me. I know how my friends see me and my family, but how do you see me, God? And let me tell you guys, that's a double-edged sword.
The
My
moment,
life got
the
turned
moment you
topsy turvy.
ask, everything is open to you. God says, I'm glad you asked.
That
Welcome in,
there.
right?
That's exactly what it is. And everything, it was just almost like, you know how you have the salt shaker and you take it, just everything got turned topsy-turvy. And within a 3-day period for me, it was like this fast track of a world that I had no clue about, really. Like, I knew this stuff as a kid. We knew that my dad was clairvoyant, but we didn't use words like clairvoyant. He would talk about dreams or premonitions or seeing things. But in this light, those weren't conversations we would just have. It was just, okay, Daddy, we know he does this. In the space, my daughter, years before, I had a savant child, and she was very much into the woo and spirituality and all this stuff. And I was that parent at that time, deep into the church, quick questioning. She would question everything about the Bible. She questioned everything about church. And it was like, oh, Lord, here we go again. Then for me, because I wasn't in this space, and she was way more advanced than I was. And I remember, and I'll be honest, times when I was calling her crazy. Like, some of the stuff she would be saying was just so far out. However, one of the things I never questioned is when she could see in the spirit. I never questioned that because, keep in mind, that's where I started. That's what it was. So that part was natural when she would be seeing things in the spirit, and like the sixth sense, when the little boy, I see dead people. This was like a regular occurrence for her. I can definitely remember her having the conversations with me more prominently in high school.
Right.
And so when I came online in a 3-day period, I was speaking in tongues, or what we now deem light language. I knew people's genealogy. The ancestors was talking to me. I was knowing all this knowledge. There was an embodiment. I mean, it was all like a movie, almost like, what in the world? Like, I'm glad you asked, this whirlwind. And in that, as a result of I don't even know if fallout is the best word of it, but people start going out of my life because,
Yeah.
to them, I seemed crazy because I would just know things. I was decoding the Bible. I was reading the Bible, decoding it, and telling people what the scriptures meant. I was telling people their genealogy. I'm walking up to people and going, "Oh, your family you come from the Cherokee tribe," and da 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 da. And people are like, "You're right. I just got my Cherokee card," And I'm like, so it was all this stuff that was going on. Objects. I'm going to pause after this, but for some reason, Spirit is saying talk about the objects. So
Okay.
I would pick up objects, and the objects would give me their information. So there was this situation when all this is happening. This is a 3-day period, 2016, 2017 timeframe. I picked my nephew. I take a trip. I lived in Atlanta at this time, had been out of Oklahoma for quite some time, took a trip back home to Oklahoma, and my nephew was showing me a pearl handle Smith and Wesson antique gun that he had.
Mm-hmm.
And so I picked it up, and I could feel this energy come over me. Like, I haven't talked about this out loud on a live or anything like this, but I had this energy to come over me from this gun, and I go, Billy the Kid, this belonged to Billy the Kid. His outlaw gang came through Oklahoma in the 1800s. This gun was fired. Da, 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 da. And it just,
It
all
just started
this,
coming out, right?
all this information about this gun is coming out. And I say to him, go get this appraised. something I don't know why I know this. I don't know why this is coming out. And I said, go get this as praise. This is worth money. This belonged to Billy the Kid. You got it. Somebody in either him or in his game, but it's saying it belonged to him. The original ammunition was in the gun. It was like rusted and all this stuff. It was a pearl handle. I have pictures of it. He didn't
Okay.
do it. He didn't do it. He didn't believe me. Everybody thought it was crazy. Several years later, it just bothered me. Like I asked him about it later. He had sold it to someone. He didn't give me the amount, but I'm sure it was for little or nothing. I could not let it go, Sandra. And a couple of years after that, I went to do research on guns that were a part, has anybody ever found any of these guns? What happened? Now, I'm not saying that this gun that he had was worth this much, but I did find a story where somebody had a Billy the Kid gun and it was worth $1 million.
Wow. See? Yeah.
Million
And
dollars.
and you were being channeled to about this at that particular, because he probably had in his mind abundance, or I need some money or whatnot, and you were channeling it off of that, and their his guides were saying, go tell him to go find out how much that is,
He didn't
know.
do it.
Mm,
That's
no.
exactly what happened because, like I said, I didn't know why all this information was coming to me. It was quite fascinating and scary at the same time. And I'm saying, and it's funny because I kept telling him, you're a very wealthy man. You're a very wealthy man. However, it was a lot of other things going along in this. I had an embodiment. It was it was too much. So when I first came online, it was just a little too much for me, Queen. It was like I fizzled out. My family thought I was crazy. I ended up in the mental hospital. And then when they
Hmm.
ran all the tests, it was nothing wrong. They were like, it's nothing wrong with him. But this is a funny thing here, too. So, one of the behavior specialists in the mental hospital, in the mental section of one of the local hospitals, he said, when everything came to and I calmed down, all the stuff, he says, this is the person that your family kept describing as you're just very calm, you're very peaceful, because they thought it was drugs. They test for everything under the sun. And
Hmm.
he said, you were a little agitated when you came in. He said, but what I'm interested in is you came in. He said, I study ancient languages. And you came in here speaking ancient languages. And there's nothing wrong with you. We can't keep you. However, we would love to keep you here for observation. And I would like to know more about these ancient languages. I was like, where do I sign to get out?
Right, right. It's
No
like,
thanks.
yeah, it's like what I went through already. I just want to go home and dial it down just a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that was the journey. And I ran for about 7 years or more. And then one day, so that was, that was a visit home to Oklahoma, still living in Atlanta. Fast forward, I moved to Europe. I get married, moved to Europe. And I am in Europe about 2 years at this time. And one day I wake up, I'm having a discussion with my husband at that time about my son. And I'm going, gosh, I don't know what's going on with us. He's really getting on my nerves. Sometimes I don't want to answer when he calls. I don't understand. This is my baby, da da da. So the next morning when I wake up, I hear a very clear, distinctive voice say, you're the problem. So I could hear my husband's man cave was next to our room. So I could hear him up in the man cave. There's nobody else in the house but us. I tap on the bed like let me make sure there's
Let
nobody
me.
in here. Yeah, because it's dark. Because in Europe the blinds is on the outside and they're steel. So when they're down, it's pitch black dark even in the day.
Right.
So I hear a very distinctive voice say, "You're the problem." And then I knew that it was time again. The spirits were back. And
Hmm.
this is the time my spirit team, possibly ancestors, I knew in this moment that it was no more running. Like I automatically knew I couldn't run anymore. I was like, so you guys are back. And
Hmm.
they were back and I had to make up for the time that I missed all those years that I ran. And
Right.
that's part of the story when people don't understand, sometimes, are not talked about often, is when you run from these gifts, they're going to fast track you for everything that you missed. And that's what
Right.
happened. I got fast tracked.
Oh yeah, because they have to. Yeah, because the more you that which you resist will persist, and it will. It life keeps coming back around to you saying now, and you keep going no, and you know, and then it comes back around, and it kind of like you know, kind of like okay, well, let's do this earthquake style. I'm gonna give you a
Yes,
4.5, right? And you still like
absolutely.
no, I can handle the 4.5, right? And then life comes back around to you and go, okay, we'll just do a 9. We'll do the Richter scale,
That
right?
part, that part. And that's exactly, I love that you described it like that. I've never described it like that. I love that you did, because that's exactly what happened. So I remember in the beginning of running, because my daughter's gifted too, so the spirits used to go to her. She would come to me and tell me what they said, and I was like, "Yes, them. I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
doing
like
it. Nope, I'm good. Last time in the hospital, nope, cool. I'm not doing that. There was some stuff that was with that." And so I would run, and she would come and say, they said, and I would say, tell them, I said, F you, I'm not doing it. And so you're exactly right. I got the 9. I got the 9. And
mhm,
when this, when I got the visitation, this is now 2021, been in Germany a few years, I'm married. And so now imagine this, that for this husband who may have had some inkling that there might be some a little different about me, but not really, because
mhm,
I can remember I was still listening, even though I wasn't really embracing it, I was still listening to, like, the meditations or the tribal music or the spiritual stuff. And he would make jokes about it sometimes. He'd say when I come out of the bathroom that there's this puff of smoke or steam comes out. And he's like, I don't know who you're in there talking to. He would make jokes about it until they really showed up. It wasn't so funny.
yeah, until like, oh, you don't know they're very real, you
Yes.
know.
And that's exactly what it was. So when that Richter scale went to 9.9, I can look back now and say, oh, there were hints. I can remember doing a live on Facebook, January 2021, talking about holding on to people, places, and things past their expiration date. And that if you hold on to stuff past its expiration date, it will curd up in your stomach like spoiled milk. So I was doing a cleanse in my house, and I was taking all these, because I used to have to be a shopaholic, and I used to have an online boutique and sell clothes and dress and style people. And so I had all these clothes and stuff, and I just said, it's the new year, let's clear this clutter. Well, little did I know that it was a premonition to what's to come, because what happened is when I heard these voices, they told me I was the problem with my son. They also told me that, this was a harsh truth, because when you start this journey, you start to peel the onions back, right? The layers. And so your harsh truths and the things about you really come forth. And so they said, you're in the way. If you don't get out of his way, he will never be the man that he's supposed to be, because you are in the way and you are coddling and pushing money towards everything. And he needs to do this on his own. And that was a tough one, because this is, I have 2 children. They're 7 years apart. This is the youngest one. And when I looked at my cash app, they were right. It was a lot of money going out.
Right.
And I was fixing everything, and especially once I moved to Europe, because my children didn't come. They were grown, but they didn't come. And well, he was almost grown, and didn't want to come. So I was really filtering back money with, if anything happened, and this is just honest conversation. I was fixing everything with money, because I was almost 5,000 miles away,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I'm in a whole nother country. And so if something came up, phew, here's the money going out. But that wasn't doing him a service. It was doing him a disservice. And then they just listed my literally rights out, going, you got to leave your husband. You got to, your best friend. This is what's up with your cousin. This is up with your daughter. This is this. These people these people are got to go out your life, and you got to move back to the USA. And I was like, no, I'm living my best life. I'm going to publish my second book. What are you doing? Da, 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 da. I'm traveling. I'm gallivanting all over the countries. I love castles. I'm going castle hunting on a regular. Like, my life at that time, to me, I was living my absolute best life. I'm driving on Autobahn. I am taking flights and train rides and boat rides, and I'm going to other countries. It was, for me, going to another country was like somebody going to another state, because Europe is not big as, they front it to be. So you could be in another country. Some areas of France, I could be in less than an hour. I could be in Luxembourg in an hour and 15 minutes. I could be in Paris on a high-speed train in 2 hours. I'm in the UK. I'm in Greece and Italy. Like, this was my playground. And Creator is saying, no, go back. You got work to do.
Right. Yeah, I just heard the creator say, I told her that you think you're in a pretty big playground, but I got a bigger one for you. Right? I
I
got a
say
bigger
that.
one for you,
I
right?
receive. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I received that, Queen.
Right.
Listen, that's what it was. I thought I was at the top of my game. I thought that life could not get any better. And what happened is, what Creator gave me this manifesto to do, I refused to do it. And here's where the 10.0 came in.
Oh,
Because I was like, no, I'm not living with my husband. I haven't been married that long. Oh, this is my best friend. We've been friends for 38 years. Oh my God, my cousin. And they wrote it out like someone literally saying, here's the deal. And I didn't want to listen. And guess what happened? The marriage went,
it got
it got,
sour, huh?
it went sour real fast. And so I ended up moving back. And those relationships, that the other relationships were in the US, and every single one that was in the manifesto was dissolved within 30 days of me
Wow.
coming back to the US. I'm talking about, and some of them in not a very comfortable, pretty
Mhm.
way. It was dissolved because I didn't listen to spirit. I didn't listen to the God in me. I didn't listen to the God of the universe. I didn't listen to my ancestors, spirit guide, and spirit team. I was hard headed. I was that kid that, it's an old saying that says, you don't believe fat meat's greasy. And some people don't understand that there might be an Oklahoma country thing, but that not believing fat meat is greasy, meaning you don't believe shit. You
Yeah.
just don't believe it. I have to
Yeah.
show you.
I
And
just saw you. Yeah.
yeah, and that situation was one of those, you didn't believe fat meat's greasy. And it was exactly that. It was that 10.0 on the Richter scale. Everything fell apart. And had to be rebirthed a few times. And why what you said is so important to me right now, and I'm all about transparency, is I had another earthquake, right? Because
Hmm.
of me not listening. And what Creator is trying to help me do, and maybe for somebody else too, is choose me first.
Yes. It's about the embodiment of you knowing you. It's about you knowing your story. Once you know your story, whether it's good or bad, it's all your compass or your GPS to where you go next in the now moment of you,
That is
right?
so real. And I'm so glad that we're having this discussion, because a lot of times the spirituality, it's not all terrible. I wouldn't never say that. Like, I'm in my glory in it now, learning and growing and digging deeper every day, and
Mhm.
learning that the ebbs and flows, or the stagnant times and the flow times, like stagnant times are required, because sometimes that's your re-up. Like, sometimes Creator in a lot of sectors, people be like, the devil did this and the enemy did this, and it's not that. It is Creator, the prime creator, God, Him, herself, whatever you believe in is up to you. Source Creator will take everything out of the way that's in the way of your divine self. So when you said you thought you were on a pretty big playground, but I got was better, I'm right at that cusp of, oh God, you about to really do it, because what I've learned in these patterns that I'm now closing out those cycles is when I don't listen, it becomes disastrous. And so now I'm in the energy of easy button, soft button. I'm ready. This soft life has to come because I have had, I call them too many spiritual ass whippings when I didn't listen in those earthquakes. Like, we need solid ground. I don't need a trembling, rumbling volcano anymore. Like, no earthquakes, no splitting the Red Sea, none of that. Like, soft meadow, skipping, smelling the tulips. Let me talk to the trees and the animals. It's that time. And so for you to say that, I am right. When two or more agree, I am right there with you because it is that time for that softness because there has been the mystery school. There has been the cocooning. There has been the isolation. There has been the stripping of everything material because I will be the first to admit, you know, I thought the way to everything was all these degrees. So I have more degrees and certificates than
Right. Yeah.
I thought that that was the way to that meant everything. And I'm not taking it away from it. So, whoever's listening now or whoever will see this in a replay, I'm not taking away from anybody's path, but my path was degree, certificate. I'm a life coach. I have a master's degree. I have a bachelor's degree. I have
Oh,
a
yeah. Listen,
oh,
listen to this. Listen
yeah.
who she is. She's a quantum soul healer. She's a light language practitioner. She's a medical intuitive. She's an ancestral connector. She's a spiritual coach. She's a speaker and mentor, and she's an author. All right. And here with Soul Talk with Sandee, right? It's about your gifts and your talents and your skills. Now she took what she was running from, that the divine was trying to open up and let her see. Yes, you've got all these degrees. All I want you to do is add me into it, right? All I want
That's
to do,
100%
Allie, is
right.
add me into it.
I when we talk about, I want to wrap around, and it's funny that I have all that stuff, and really, all I really say most of the time is I am that I am, and so much of what life wants us to do is describe ourselves and all these accolades and all these things, but when we are just I am,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you let God in. That's when you let the Creator in, like I am. And if anything that you say after I am is the creator of God, the God energy, the God force energy waking up in you and saying, you are what, Sandee? You are what, Allie? You are what, Emperor Efaru? You are what, frequency? Or is it Turner Queen? I think that's what it says, or Lunar Queen. uh, Two, you are what whoever else is watching.
Mm-hmm.
I am is the key. The I am is the God awakening inside of me to know that there is a God in me and that I don't have to go outside of me, like Reverend Ike say, by and by pie in the sky, white God coming to save me, because that's the image, in my life, what I was put on, what was fed to me, programmed it to me. And really what you're saying is so accurate because that's all Creator wants all of us to do is just sup with me, share
Yeah.
time with me, ask me questions. And I remember one time in the journey, Creator said, you're asking the wrong questions. Because I was doing this. Why? What is this
Yeah.
happening to me? Why?
Yeah.
Why you did this, God? Why you hate me, God? Why this happened? Especially when everything crumbled. I was in this, oh my God, woe is me. And God, I remember driving I was on 85 coming from Jeju in Atlanta. And God, it was on my birthday a couple of years back. And God said, you're asking the wrong questions. Ask deeper questions. And also do this. The reason you get hurt so often is that you expect you out of everybody else. Stop
Yes.
having expectations for everybody and set the standard for yourself. Somebody needs to hear this, Sandee.
Yeah.
Set the
It's
standard for yourself and stop having the expectation of everyone else, because if you continue to have the expectation from everyone else, then you are going to set yourself up for disappointment, because those people have their own journey, and their journey may not be to support you and yours. Their journey may be to irritate you or not support you so that you can lean on the indwelling Holy Spirit of the great I am, and stop thinking that your source comes from resources. I'm going to say that again. Often we think that our source is coming from resources when it's the creative source, creator, God, the
right.
infinite, the almighty, the omnipotent one is source, and everything else is a resource. A job is a resource, a person is a resource, money is a resource, cars is a resource, house is a resource. When we start looking at those things as resources, right?
Hmm.
This when we start looking at it as a resource and not the source, and get connected into the real plug,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's when life
That.
changes.
Yeah. It's kind of like that's and exactly that's abundant blessings, beautiful. Um,
Thank you.
that's where that's where now we're going to segue from Soul
Okay.
Awakening with Sandra, okay,
Okay.
to Soul Talk with Sandee about your gifts and your what are we going to call them? Your gifts, your talents. Writing your book, your first book. You were in Europe. That was doing good. Second book you were writing. Then a second book, the divine said, "Hold up, wait a minute." And you said, "What?" Right? You said, "God, you ain't talking to me. How can I hold up? I'm doing this." And the divine said, "Wait a minute, hold up. You think you're playing in a big playground? I got a bigger one for you." But at the same time, you could have had your own. You could have said, "Nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to resist. I'll resist a little bit longer." Guess what? The divine will say, "Your wish is my command." It'll come back around to you. But here you go. You're listening. You're back in the States. You're 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 back now. Plugged in. You're on top of that iceberg, saying, "All right, you got me. How far do I have to dive?" Right? Where
Yeah.
do we dive to, and how are you using your skills and your talents? You know.
Wow, that was so packed with everything. As you were talking that, I was walking the journey back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was walking that journey back, because you're exactly right. Like, I was thinking, this is it, and creative shut it down. And so the first few years, if I could be very honest with you, is I went kicking and screaming. I was like, oh shit, God, why would you do this to me? So, and this is the truth, honest. Like, this is, you have to be so transparent with people. I want my BS back. I want my house back. What happened to my life? I
Yeah.
want my, where's my clothes? I moved back with 3 suitcases. I had a $500,000 wardrobe. I moved back with 3 suitcases.
Right.
I was like, what in the world happened here? And so in this space, I was also a federal contractor or independent contract trainer. So I had these contracts lined up when I left. So what the leaving was is I was doing a radio station. I was in Europe, but I was on this radio, a guest on a radio station back in Tulsa, Oklahoma, my hometown. And they were asking me how I got to Europe, right? And so I'm sharing the journey. And then we took a break for a minute off the radio station. And I literally looked at my phone, and I had an email coming in. Something said, look at your phone, go check your email. I have an email coming in. And as I'm looking at it while we're on break from the radio station, it is a contract opportunity. Because I've been an independent contract trainer since 2018.
Okay.
That's how I got to you in the first place. So this is, this is my way back to coming to America. This is my way back. And then I had
Right.
the contract lined out for the rest of the year. And I got here thinking that the contract was the way, and Creator took that too. And that's where all the crying and the rebirth and the health and everything, comes. So now finally it literally takes almost another year for me to stop crying about the bins. I a Porsche went away. That's after I got back here.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's what Creator told me. So Clubhouse is the platform that I went live on when I finally stopped running. Like I was like, at this time I was having tantrums. I was 50 years old and I'm having big tantrums like a 2-year on the floor going, why are you doing this in my life? Oh God, I was just miserable. I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't understand. You told me, God, you showed me a premonition, the bigger playground you're talking about. God showed me that premonition in 2021. And when it wasn't gelling, like soon as I got back to the USA, I was like, God, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
So I'm
but
having a
God, why did you
meltdown.
lie to me?
Yeah, why'd
Right?
you lie to me? You
Yep.
told me all this stuff. Come back and build an empire. Come back and do this. Come back and do this. And literally, Sandra, like where we are now, like building the network of spiritual people, of these star people, the light people, and people in all their different abilities and gifts and skills. That's happening right now. So when we talk about the right now, that's what's been happening over the last about year or so. Is Creator was putting me in places where that I can meet other star seeds and other people who have different abilities and skills and gifts, and saying, you build this network. So I had this vision in 2021, build a network. Someone needs this, go see Sandra. Somebody needs this, go see Emperor Farouk. Somebody needs this, go see Paul. Somebody needs this, go see Yahweh. Somebody needs this, see Nancy. I had this vision. God,
Mm. Yep.
I had it in 2021. And so here we are, 2024. And I had this vision of bringing all these people together and they could do their own work independently, but also we can do collective work. Because here's what I know about this journey: God is source. And when you know that God, the creative source of the universe, whoever you want to call that, is source, then there's enough to eat. So it's no thing for me to say, go see Sandra, she got you. Because that's not going to take food off my plate.
Right.
I eat every day, whether I have 6 figures in my bank account or I have 1 figure in my bank account. I eat every day.
Right.
And when I learned that what God had to show me was the ego and that material stuff, it's amazing and it's wonderful because we deserve it. It's our birthright, but that's not my God. And when you learn that it needs you instead of you needing it, because why would a house need to be built if Sandra didn't need to live in a house, or Sandee or Allie didn't need to live in a house?
Right.
Required that. Or a car would not be necessary if humans were not here to drive it. So money would not be made if you did not need to use it. So that's flipping that switch and turning that down on the importance of the stuff.
Right.
And so what I'm learning in this journey, how I'm using it now, is all those things that you read off, plus some other things, I'm using those to help people. I do mentoring, I do coaching, and I see clients over the world right now. So a couple of projects that I'm working on is I'm actually getting ready to head out to Utah, and we're working and planning my first retreat. This is something God showed me years ago. Retreat, that bigger playground you talk about. I saw this years ago. I have this stuff written out, and I want to say this to somebody who's listening. Write the vision, make it plain. However, comprehend that if the vision is going to come to pass, but it's when you're ready. And a lot of times we say divine time. All time is divine time because you're a divine being. You are a spiritual being having a earthly experience, and you are divine. You are divinity in the flesh. So it's always divine time. However, it is are we, the efficacy of something? Are we ready to bring it forth? And sometimes we are in our own way thinking we're ready to bring it forth, and we are not ready to bring it forth. So that way it seems like punishment. I'll be the first one that it feels like
I'll be the second one
punishment.
because, yeah,
Yeah, it feels like
you.
punishment when you know that Creator has so much for you, and you have these dreams and you have these visions and you have these skills and these talents, and they're not coming to pass like you think they are because you are still being pruned. And that's something that I had to learn. My message has been in these last few weeks is you have to fully accept your gifts on a larger playing field. So when you said that, sis,
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
mean, the divine
I
has
got
said it.
teary.
It's the divine said, as things were not going right with Sandee, what we were
Yeah.
doing, earlier, and I had that moment of cry fest. Not many tears came out. It was just I consider a cry fest.
It,
It's like just
let them
going,
flow.
just doing one of these things like Charlie Brown,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And going, okay, I got to figure this out. But here's the thing: Soul Conversations with Sandra, the podcast, meets and births, not just meets, but it births a Soul Talk with Sandee M. This is the show, right?
Yes.
This is the show that's going. This is how the birth of this happens, and then everything else with trying to figure out the technical part of it is the deep dive off the tip of the iceberg. Actually, I dived off that iceberg, and I'm still down there
Right.
in the
Right.
deep
Right.
because I
Right.
haven't came up, because the divine told me, hey, you didn't ask to come up. Do you want to come up? And I went, nope, I'm good. I'm figuring it all out. So this is what this is. Literally, we're sitting here talking about it. We're talking about our gifts and how we're using them. And this is what it was. It's Soul Conversation with Sandra, the podcast, meets Allie West and births Soul Talk with Sandee M.
I love it because
Right?
while you're talking, I just seen this merging. It was like this is like you said the birth of it, and so it had to be a transition spirit, a transition period,
Yeah.
and that's what today is. And now, what you literally did is you had two shows in one.
Yeah.
And now when you go on to that space, because it really was nothing you had to figure out, it was God's way of saying, or creator's way of saying, nope, I want you to bridge them. I want you to marry them. I want people to see how they're going to come together and how this transition happened. And no better to transition with Allie, because Allie is in transition.
And then we go back to that second book, which is what it was it called? Your second book is called Still a Mess.
Still a mess.
And you're transitioning, right? Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, Allie, are you down there? You still deep diving? Allie, are you okay? And Allie
This is
saying,
hilarious.
yes, that kind of, because that's what
Yes.
I'm doing is yes. And there are moments where I do that Charlie Brown going, really,
Yes.
right now? And that's what I was doing. It was like, okay, what I did was I learned, like I was saying earlier before you popped on, was that what I learned is I didn't have what my son had walked me through to set it up so it would be ready. So all I had to do was click the go live when you
Yes.
showed up the very first time.
Yes.
And and but I got to walk myself through that the second time, even though it still didn't work.
Yeah, but
And
you know the process.
I knew the process of the walkthrough, and knowing that the next time I can do it. I'm in the deep
Absolutely.
dive, and I'm just like, oh, I'm here, I'm floating. I learned how to blow the bubbles and take my time. I'm not gagging and drowning. I'm actually learning how to take my time, learning how to flow in it. Oh, okay. And give myself grace that it's okay for me to have that moment of, okay, I want to bust a cry. I'm not a pretty
Mm-hmm.
crier, but I had to do that, that no tears came out, but a little pouting, right?
Yes.
It was good. And then it literally was the divine that said, go on Instagram. And I said, but I'm going to vent. And the divine said, go ahead. You know, actually, I think it was the divine goading me, saying, really, you think you're going to kind of, have one of those meltdowns?
Uh-huh.
Go ahead, see what happens. And literally, all I did was talk about it. The right person came on at the right time. It was only her and I, and we were talking about everything, and actually the same thing that you asked about. What's the difference between professional and business? And she was there. The divine had someone there that I could vent to,
Yes.
but it wasn't really a vent. It was like, oh, this is just a conversation. And then I had to, in my head, I'm having this conversation with God, going, you couldn't just let me have that vent for a moment. And the divine goes, nope, because your awareness, being aware. What are you
The
aware
ready, set,
of?
go.
Right? What are you aware of? You're aware that you got this handled. You've been through the murkiness of setting up your own Instagram. You've been through the murkiness of setting up your YouTube and setting up Spotify, and adding iTunes to your Spotify so that you could. I'm everywhere,
I love it.
right?
I love it.
And I didn't really think about this till now. It's I'm everywhere, and at the right time, at the right place, the divine vibrationally sent me the right person to answer an embodying question that I had about something technical. And
Absolutely.
then as quickly as they showed up, they left,
I love it.
right?
And the funny thing is, I put everything on do not disturb because I knew was going to be with you. And so I was missing the messages that you were doing. At first, I had it sitting up going, okay, maybe it's taking a little longer. Then I ended up, I think, swiping through, just kind of looking through Instagram, but nothing is coming through to me. No call, no message or anything. And something said, go back and look. And then I saw you had did it, and I saw you live. And I said, oh, let me jump on. So what it's again, that divine time is always divine. My time,
Mm-hmm.
when we say it's not my time, yes it is. Everything is your time, because no, you don't have to spend time with anybody else in the world but yourself. So it's always our time. All time is divine. The only thing is when the revelation happens, and that's what feels like the wait time. It's already here. Everything's happening at the same time. We are in the field of opportunity. We are in the field of choice. And it's just like you said, are you ready to come up yet? And sometimes I'm like, no.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
because
so
you're
then
going,
that looks like delay. And then God said, okay, I'm going to give you another time. I'm going to give you another opportunity or test. And are you ready yet? And so now I did have a breakdown. I said that earlier, cried this week, twice in one day. It was so cleansing and refreshing, and I needed it because it was exactly what we're talking about when we were like the still a mess, because the first book is a dressed up mess, right? And that's when I was discovered that I was a mess. And I didn't even really think about it having anything to do with my spiritual journey. But then when I think back, I'm like, there's a lot of time that you're talking back and forth to the creator in this book, but you were in a different lens of your journey. This was kind of the I wasn't sure yet, but now that I look back, it was like, oh, God was always talking to me. I just wasn't always listening,
yeah,
or I wasn't always having the effective conversation. And then,
yeah,
book two is still a mess because there were some things in my life I didn't want to deal with. And so now I am in the process of undressing the mess. And undressing the mess is when we just do what you said, that awareness that, nope, it's not them, it's me. This is my stuff.
right.
Is this really as bad as it seems? Or, nah, really it's not. It's just me having to deal with me and the process. People are going to come and go. Situations, jobs are going to come and go. Cars are going to come and go. Money's going to come and go. People's going to come and go. And, it's just being in that space. And it's like, ah, this is it.
Right.
This is where I get to say, I am.
Yeah.
And when we say I am, and you can just leave it there. I am. I am that I am means I'm everything and nothing at the same time. And I can choose right now, this moment, where I'm going to have a breakdown, whether I'm going to move forward, whatever I'm going to do. And I encourage breakdowns because that energy has to go somewhere. Because if that
Yes.
energy doesn't get out, it's going to come up as disease and discomfort in the body. It's going to come as unhealed. It's going to come as, if you didn't get to have that moment, the next time it would have been on your brain. Oh my God, I hope it works this time. I hope it works this time, right? But you just, someone said that,
It said technology's definitely trying me today.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so you go for it. I did my podcast Thursday, and it took us 3 tries before the guest could come up because she couldn't request to come up and I couldn't bring her up. And we had to go out and come back in like 3 times, and I was like, and then my ring light broke. Like all kinds of stuff was going on, and I was like, I thought I told you that we won't stop. We're gonna keep it going, and even in the midst of everything falling apart, keep going. So I'm
Right.
glad that you had the opportunity to marry both shows. And then as you now move on into the next one, as you're transitioning into those different platforms, now we know that Instagram has a professional and a business, and there's a difference, and we get to go research what's different if you didn't know that at first.
Yeah.
So it's a learning lesson in it. Did you learn something, and did you live? I have a friend that always says, I can have a really crumpy day and maybe, want to talk to him about it. And he go, but did you live?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going, you're being insensitive. And then now I don't even take that sensitivity to it. I'm a Pisces, we sensitive, right? So I don't even take offense to it. It's like, but did you live? And I'm like, I did. I made it through. We have 100% pass rate of getting through our worst situations. Like we have 100% pass rate. Like you can't get better than 100% pass rate of getting through your most amazing days and your most trying days. Because as long as we're still here, we have 100% pass rate.
Yes.
And so, Sandra, you have 100% pass rate. Sandee, you have 100% pass rate. And we're doing it here. And whoever's supposed to be here gets it. Whoever's supposed to see it later will see it. And
Right.
source is still source, and you're still beautiful and fabulous.
God, thank you. You're still beautiful and fabulous. And I'm going to tell you, on my restream, the way it came in, oh my God, it was, you were, it was like you were a star that just popped in. And when,
Really?
yeah, I had to, toggle. All I did was click the toggle and then you showed up. But it's like you showed up like this star of light coming
Oh,
in
wow.
to the into the restream. So the divine was saying, I even then the divine was saying, I got you. I got you two goddesses. I got you two queens. And you're going to share today. And
I love it.
literally I was sitting here on my computer just reading, okay, stream, the stream, how Restream does it to Instagram. And then I was going, oh, okay, that's interesting. I got to do some more research on that. And then literally it was like this thought was, I'm going to do just literally the live was only meant to be 5 minutes. So I could literally
Oh,
just vent, right? But not like a
wow.
vent like,
Yeah, get it out.
cursing things,
Yeah,
but it
just
was
get it
like,
out.
right. It's really kind of like what Goddess had said, technology, right?
Yeah.
I thought I knew technology and I didn't. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that vent there
Yes.
instead of editing it out, because I
Yes.
think it's a very important part of the introduction to 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 this conversation, right?
Yes.
It's like, man, Allie, can I reschedule you to
Absolutely.
be as soon as I get it? Uh, uh, it's gonna be sweet. I am aware that I am awareness, and awareness is aware that I'm gonna figure this out. So we will reschedule for the soul talk about the gifts and how we are using them, actively in our everyday lives. And really, I would love how it's not only for the collective, but also from the also getting back into the world and being that light that is shining into the world, so it opens up for people to be comfortable
Yeah.
about starting to learn new things about themselves, allowing their gifts and talents to shine that are spiritual, allowing themselves to have a one-on-one relationship with the divine that's moving in through and as them, that they learn from us that it's okay. We went through the same things,
Absolutely.
right?
I agree. I would be absolutely honored as soon as she gets together to just let's schedule and continue the conversation.
Yes.
I'm glad that we were even still able to talk and digest and share today. And I believe, again, that it was a growth thing for both of us because let me tell you what I also heard. You said, I'm everywhere. I'm on all these platforms. I'm not. I do. I started a YouTube page a year or some change ago and haven't done anything with it. I posted 2 videos, I think, and haven't done anything with it. And now I hear it's time.
It's
And
time.
so what I also hear is, as you have learned this, I'm gonna learn from you because I did that area, the techie stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm a
It's
woman
it's
of a
it's
certain age. I like a little bit of patience, all of that. So I'm loving it
yeah.
because now I have someone I can learn from because I'm not everywhere. I'm not on Spotify. I'm not, okay, God, I hear you clearly. God said,
Yeah.
that bigger playground.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Sooner than you think is what I just heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I'm learning how to not say that word not,
Yes.
right? And I am everywhere that I want to be
That part.
in my now moment,
I
right?
love that. I love that. I'm going to
So
use that. I'm going to give you the credit for it. And this is what we just talked about when you're saying, I am that I am, and I am that I am is just that. Is that you are all things. You are God power. You are everything that you are supposed to be in the moment that you're supposed to be it. And then I turn around and say, I'm not everywhere. And God is like, really? You're not everywhere? Yes, you are. We just had this whole conversation. Get it in your head. I show up everywhere. And in the moment of the revelation, when I peel the onion back or the curtain back for you to do that, it's already happening. You are just now seeing the revelation of it happening because it's already happening anyway. So
yep.
you're absolutely right. And I'm loving that you help me be accountable to the words that I say because everybody knows that our words have power and our words carry a certain vibrational frequency and our superconscious mind. We say subconscious, but it's the superconscious because it runs everything. Our superconscious mind already knows that it does not process the words not, can't, stop, won't. It doesn't process that. Our superconscious mind processes the command. And the command, if I just said, I'm not everywhere, what the command heard is, I am everywhere.
Right,
That's
right.
right.
Because that super consciousness comes directly from the divine.
Yes,
Directly. It's the direct connection. The subconscious, yeah, that's part of where our ego kind of plays
yes,
in. That's the playground.
absolutely.
And our conscious mind is the creator into the form of our now moments, right? But I do have to
Absolutely.
go. My daughter just rolled up,
Okay,
and she's telling me she's in a parking space, but she's got to
okay,
wait for my parking spot.
got
But
you.
see, everything works right
Divinely.
on time, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it has been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad that we got to share this time. You let me know when, and then we got to get you on mine as well. So we will connect. Let's not have your daughter waiting. Thank you so much. And for you guys that came in, thank you so much for coming in. And wait till you guys hear us the next time. It's going to be fabulous as well.
It's going to be fabulous.
Yes,
All
definitely.
right. So
Thank you, Queen.
I'm closing this energy circle with 10845. 10845 10845. Any energy that came in this into this room for disruption, I just give it to the divine. I allow the divine to cleanse it, to transform it, to alchemize it, and to put it back out for use. If the divine so
Yes.
chooses to send it back to the sender, I say ashe. Let it be
I
so.
say.
All right. So thank you so much.
Mwah.
Do you want to be a collaborator on this?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, I will request you as a collaborator because the divine says collaborator, collaborator.
Absolutely.
It's for purpose and reason, so I'm following. I'm
Okay,
following.
Queen, thank you so much.
All
And
right.
I appreciate you. Thank you for everyone who came on. And let's do this again.
Let's do it
Mwah.
again.
Love you.
All
Talk
righty.
to you
Bye
soon.
bye.
Bye.